Okay, Free Radicals, I'm back. It's Dave, talking to you. I am the Radical Independent, and you might be too if you're still watching this channel. Please don't forget to support me via PayPal and Patreon. Check out my last video. Not sure if it's monetized. I'll have to check that. Tulsi Gabbard has now become the forgotten woman. Again, I had this long conversation with my friend Jess, who's up in New Hampshire, who's a diehard Tulsi Gabbard supporter. Her and her husband seem to be working tirelessly on behalf of Tulsi. Jess and a few other people that I have been following, and at times leading, I will say, because I am trying to promote Tulsi, and people follow my lead, or people, I'm following them. There have been a few people that have privately sent me messages saying to me, what is this all about? Some people are going through this process for the very first time, and they're learning that politics is a horrible enterprise. It's, you work so hard, you believe in this one person, and then they're gone. They've been shadow banned. They've been ghosted. Tulsi Gabbard has been effectively ghosted. It's if she doesn't exist. And CNN continues to do it. I saw they're doing something on Twitter. Find out what the candidates are basically saying and so forth. And they show Deval Patrick's picture. But yet they can't show, they have no interest. And I think this may be associated with their town hall thing in New Hampshire. But they continue to promote this and pretend that Tulsi Gabbard doesn't exist. In Iowa, I didn't see anything about Tulsi Gabbard. Someone took a picture of the table of where caucus goers could go. And I know Tulsi has, essentially she moved to New Hampshire and she became, a live free or die type person for a few months. And that's a good strategy, I think, especially after what happened last night. But nobody's talking about Tulsi Gabbard. We're talking about Tulsi. The people who know who she is are talking about her. The other buzz about Tulsi Gabbard is that her signage is all being defaced. No matter where you see Tulsi signs, they end up being ripped down. They end up being replaced with the little Russian logo, symbol, whatever you want to call it, hammer and sickle thing. And, of course, people, especially on the right, and even from, this is the weird thing, that during the 1980s, the people on the right, anyone who had any sort of socialist tendencies, they were called a Russian. And now, if you're on the right, think of how crazy this is. You're on the right, and you believe in free speech, and you basically eschew, it's a good word, identity politics, then guess what? You might just be a Russian. You might be a Russian. I don't know how we got here. I don't want to know how. Well, here's how we got here. Hillary Clinton, John Podesta, and their campaign launched this entire meme the night they were losing to Trump. They had to have an explanation. It couldn't have been that Hillary Clinton didn't campaign. It couldn't be that Hillary Clinton insulted half the country. It couldn't be any of these things. It couldn't be that Hillary Clinton doesn't give a whit about the working class. It couldn't be that Hillary Clinton wants to ramp up the war machine. Couldn't be any of those things. No. And so what we're left with, essentially, is opposite day all the time. Anything that is good in the world is equated with neoliberalism and identity politics and tribalism. And I've overused the word tribalism to this. Let me define it a little bit more. And I see it even within the progressives, or I like to call them neo-progressives, people who go out there and speak progressive-ese to people, and they don't speak their language. they speak in all of these terms and they know all of the dialect, but they don't understand the actual struggle of the person who can't get clean water. They don't know that lady in Flint, Michigan all that well. They do know about intersectionality. And I'm thinking to myself, really? That's what's more important? Intersectionality is more important than the lady who can't get clean water? Or if, for instance, you might hold a different view on abortion. Holy crap, it's like the world just stopped. Well, you're against women. Really? Because most major religions around the world do not believe abortion is a good thing. Let's put it that way. The way I look at abortion personally is I think it's a necessary evil, but it is an evil. And you don't want more of it, and that's why I support Tulsi Gabbard, because she said, hey, remember in the old days when people said safe, legal, and rare? Unfortunately, that came from Bill Clinton. That was his triangulation strategy. But the term does hold some weight, whether Clinton coined it or not. And people have abandoned any kind of, I'm not going to listen to you now. I'm not going to listen to you now because your opinion on this is so crazy. I'm not going to listen to you. And then we get the crazy chaos that is all around us because we won't listen to each other. I could go on. There are a lot of issues that divide us. Some divide us in a legitimate way. Some have been dividing us, though, in a way over generations that is incredibly counterproductive to us moving forward and electing someone who's going to make systemic change. And the ghosting of Tulsi Gabbard is systemic. It's like, here's a woman of color, a younger woman, an attractive younger woman. And I mention the attractive thing because who's to say our politicians have to be frumpy old people? We've had tons of frumpy old people, okay? And I get it. And I'm not saying we have to, it's like a lot of people like Beto O'Rourke because he was a good-looking dude, supposedly. I don't know. But the point is, who's to say we have to elect somebody who looks like an oligarch? A old white guy. And unfortunately, Bernie, you're in there too, buddy. I'm not saying you're an oligarch. I'm just saying you're another old white guy. You've had a long time in politics. See, this is the way I'm starting to look at Bernie. This is it for Bernie. He's done. He should, if he doesn't win the presidency here, and if he can't stand up to the establishment here, then he needs to get out of politics. He's done enough. He's had his time. He's accomplished a lot. He is the amendment king. He's raised issues. Good for him. But he's 78 years old, folks. And a lot of people on the left, the progressive left, the real hardcore progressive left, they don't care that he's 78 years old. I have some concerns. If he were 68, I wouldn't care as much. But he's had a heart attack. He's 78. This is a grueling, taxing schedule. My guess is he ain't going to pick Tulsi Gabbard. Because, again, she's being ghosted within the establishment. So he's got to appease the establishment. So guess what he's going to do? Guess what? Take a wild stab. He's going to pick somebody like Amy Klobuchar to be his running mate. He's not going to go further left. I mean, he may pick like a woman of color and do the intersectionality routine. And by the way, I'm being all very, this is all conjecture based on the idea that Bernie does do well and is the nominee and so forth. I truly believe when he gets blocked, I'm going to be the first person to tell you that I knew this was coming. Because that's the ultimate, is that he's going to get blocked somehow. I mean, they tried to block last night in Iowa. And there's evidence on the ground of real sort of nefarious things, real shenanigans, bigger than... The word shenanigan to me isn't strong enough. So it's more... It's like blatant corruption. Like, we're going to infiltrate this crowd with a bunch of pro-Pete people. And we're going to tell those Bernie supporters, hey, did you ever think about Pete? And this is the crazy thing why democracy is over. Because, again, one person, one vote in the privacy either of their own home or in the voting booth with documentation that goes to multiple places. including some kind of printout paper documentation. All right, if you look up your vote, it should look like the vote that you actually cast. I don't know how you do it. The other old-fashioned way is to, again, fill in an oval. Don't have the machine record the oval. Put the oval or put the check mark, whatever it is. It has to be clear enough to be readable. Because if you remember, we had 20 years ago, we had hanging chads all over the place. So we don't want the chads anymore. What we want is a clear vote where other people who are paid well, paid to do their job, not volunteers, they're paid really well to count these votes to make sure that the vote is accurate. And then maybe there's somebody there to double count the votes, to make sure the votes are even more accurate, to make sure our elections are secure and fair. Because you're just, the cry from far away and close by at this point everywhere is that the whole system is rigged, it's corrupt, and it's unfair, and this is a conspiracy. And guess what, people? It is. It is a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy to keep someone like Tulsi Gabbard away. It's just like, okay, she's gone. That last debate, remember when, I think it was Politico wrote that article? It said, the establishment has had enough of Tulsi Gabbard. Well, guess what happened after that? Tulsi never got into another debate, again, even though she was polling all over the place where she could qualify. It frustrated her to the point where she just sort of preemptively said, I'm not going anyway, so even if I make it, I'm not going. Apparently she didn't want to go to the very last one she attended. The town hall events are different because you can talk to people and answer questions, and it's not one of these who's got the best soundbite, who's got the best zinger competitions. So I would be ticked off, and yeah, of course she's being... I mean, they put the graphic up there and her picture isn't even there. I'm like, Deval Patrick? Again, Deval Patrick? You gotta be kidding. But they're not. They're not kidding with us. Alright, in the end, folks, the ghosting has got to... This whole thing with Tulsi, and again, it's going to happen eventually with Bernie. That's my prediction. Bernie somehow makes it through. Maybe I'll be there, maybe I won't. If he starts running toward the center, I mean, him in a general election is going to be very interesting to see whether he stays the course or he runs to the middle. I think in the end, folks, either it's the Green Party, it's an independent party, it's a party maybe, like I said, the Greens with some infrastructure, and we become more engaged in trying to, I guess, prepare for the future. Because in 2020, we don't have a lot of time to do anything. And what happens is, say it takes a long time to steal from Bernie. We don't know that they've stolen until like July, August, and you've only got a couple of months really on the ground at that point. And there's no way to all of a sudden just, okay, who's in the other party who we can vote for? Because that's what you would do at that point. You would say, all right, I'm going to switch. And I'm going to campaign for Jill Stein if she was running. Or Jesse Ventura, for instance, who was running. I would do it anyway, and I would yell from the rooftops. Every video, if that happened, every video going forward, unless Jesse Ventura ended up being like a child molester or something, I would say, you know what? It's Jesse. Jesse's our only hope. And I don't care if it's just we go down in flames, we get 5%, 10% of the vote, whatever it is. I'm going down in flames with those folks. Because there's no way the neoliberal establishment is going to get my support. I've seen too much. I've seen them manipulate the currency. I've seen them bail out banks and car companies and not bail out individuals. Predatory lending. All of that stuff that happened where, hey, I know you don't have any credit, and I know you barely make enough money to make this monthly payment, but how would you like a loan for $200,000? Okay, I'll take that because I'm renting right now, and it's like $2,000 or $15 a month. $1,500. So, yeah. People are running out of hope. People are trying for the hope, but they're not getting the hope. What they're getting is the shaft. And I'm here to tell you, this ghosting of both Bernie and Tulsi, more so with Tulsi than Bernie, because Bernie is, let's be honest, Bernie's doing well out there. He's, toward the top of the heap. But Tulsi could have been there too. Tulsi could have been just as high up where Bernie is if she had gotten some fair and balanced media coverage where she wasn't being asked stupid questions about Assad or connections to Modi and all these different things that continuously come up where you say no other candidate is scrutinized like this. Nobody. Just Tulsi. So, that's my video, and I'm sticking to it. I'm Dave. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, because you know what happens here? Sometimes people just get unsubscribed, and there's no notifications heading their way. Also, check out the link to Patreon. I share that with the music channel that I run, so don't be afraid. You see music stuff over there, you can still be a part of this and give like $1 a month, $2, whatever you can afford. I know it's tough. Rich people aren't watching me. Rich people and neoliberal people are not watching my channel, so I just want to make that clear. All right, peeps. Thanks for watching. Ghosting. It's a real thing. It has happened, and the only way to fix this is to do something outside the two-party system, and I'll continue to preach that until we all figure it out collectively and we actually get off our butts and do something about it. All right. See you soon.